Project Refresh and Renew has taken a new step for Chessington World of Adventures as we look through the latest plans which have been released, or shall we say submitted. Nothing yet has still been confirmed in terms of the theme, however it becomes very obvious we are looking at the Minecraft theme and more detail has come out about it. First, let's look at the site from above. Now, a few details have changed since our last plan, and that includes a little bit more detail around the main roller coaster ride and of course the immersive experience, which will be the flat ride. First, let's take a look at the map because we now know for sure what is going to be kept on site, what is going to be stored for reuse elsewhere, and what is going to be demolished. And when we take a look, it probably gives no surprises, to be honest with you. We know the rides are going to be taken out, so this does confirm that Monkey Swinger, Tuk Tuk Terminal and Jungle Bus will be being removed and stored on site somewhere else for use elsewhere. Now, whether or not that's at Chessington or somewhere else is yet to be confirmed, but at the moment they are down to be stored. The only thing that will be kept on site is, of course, Cobra. Cobra will have its retheme, be moved along a bit and kept on site. And we are losing quite a lot of landmark pieces. That includes like the fountains. That includes Temple of Mayhem, which will be completely leaving us. And there's a couple of other areas as well which will be demolished. Now, the hospitality marquee is also being retained, as well as some backstage areas, as well as the glamping tents. Although the glamping tents may not be used at Chessington World of Adventures, they may well be used somewhere else in the estate. So they are being kept and stored at Chessington until they're needed. First, let's look at the ride which will be staying, and that of course is Cobra, which will be moving about 100 meters down, with its archway forming the Portal 2 entrance to the new land. This will be taken away and rethemed, and of course will be given a new lease of life with a brand new queue around the back. Now, the queue which you can see here will enter from the other side of the ride, where at the moment it enters from the hump part. It does look like it will retain theming at each end of the ride, although obviously it won't be the Cobra which it is now. The look of Cobra will change, and certainly the layout will change. As we can see, the ride entrance on the right hand side here forms a complete new entrance area to it, and although we said there will be themed endings, we're not going to see what they are quite yet. One interesting thing is the kiosks in front of the ride, as ride access, particularly to the disc, is generally required throughout the year, so quite surprised they are putting kiosks in front of it. But other than that, it looks a little bit more compact and a little bit more sort of self-contained than perhaps it does now. With the wide view of the ride confirming as well theming at the other end, and of course the entrance portal, secondary gateway as they call it on here, going under the hump part. Here is a new view of the £20 million investment coming to Chessington, which we believe to be Minecraft. It does obviously confirm the new dark ride roller coaster, which we'll be going into shortly, as well as the play area, and what is now classed as an immersive experience flat ride down the other end, and of course Cobra, which is being moved slightly. £20 million is quite an investment for Chessington, especially into this sort of area, and this is what it looks like it's going to bring us. Here is our first look at the dark ride experience. Now, one thing to note on here, it does state in the plans that 75% of the dark ride is inside. It says you will be queuing sort of underneath it and around it, with the actual station, which you will see shortly, being on the second floor. The green parts which you see around the edge of the dark ride are of course other spaces which they are adding. That includes kitchen, indoor seating. They are also installing toilets into this area, which it doesn't currently have. And as we mentioned in our previous video, we'll also have a sensory space, a first for Chessington. Down the other side you have the retail shop unit, but I'm quite sure that your eyes go straight to the coaster section. So as you can see here, in terms of where you would walk into the coaster and the station itself, you will get on one side, get off the other before exiting out, with the operator's room being quite close by, and of course bag pickup, photo pickup and ride exit as well. That means that once you get off the ride, you will be heading back down, staying in the building, going underneath the track to come back up the other side to collect bag and photo, whereas bag drop off is right next to the station. So it should be quite a quick process. You will then of course exit into the retail shop, which isn't really that surprising. Here is another look at the set of plans from the retail side. The retail side will have an entry and exit, obviously from the ride as well, and of course the actual ride itself and how the queue line will intervene once you're inside. Now, we're really interesting to see how the queue works in there, how dark it will be, because it is a dark ride. You're supposed to be able to see parts of the track whilst you're in there. It'd be interesting to see exactly how they theme that. Looking at these plans gives you a little bit more insight as to what it will be like inside. So quite interestingly, the toilets are right underneath the main roller coaster station, with the main roller coaster ride looking like it's blocked off into separate areas. From the other side, you can see the maintenance area and of course access area as well. The plans do say that obviously the internal part of the coaster is hidden, as they don't want you to know the layout. However, further on, you do get what could potentially be a layout of the actual coaster itself, with the high and low points and the turnaround points sort of being, you know, two-dimensional in this, a little bit more open to interpretation. But it does kind of show that this isn't going to be a huge ride. I think it is going to rely on quite a lot of special effects, potentially screens and other parts as well, to make it a real immersive dark ride experience. Of course, that's not all. It did say on the original plans there would be a flat ride, and the flat ride is now turned into an immersive experience flat ride. As you can see here, this is the layout for it in terms of queue and indeed what the ride area will look at. Now, it does say as well on the plans that it will have a viewing area, so you will be able to see it from outside, which is quite interesting because the plans don't really show that you would be able to see it from outside. It's not confirmed as a dark ride, just an immersive ride experience. As we come across here, you will see the control room, obviously the ride portal, the ride entrance. I'm kind of guessing the ride portal will be open for you to walk into. Now, this is designed for younger guests when accompanied by an adult, so don't be expecting anything too thrilling on this. It would look like from plans that the ride portal area will be a place for buggies, to give you kind of an idea of what type of ride it will be. And I'm guessing from there you could probably see into it from the exit. Interesting to see what it is though, because as we move along to the next slide, this gives more of a what it will be like from underneath, and indeed how big the building will be. But it will be a fully enclosed immersive ride experience. This is also being described as iconic hardware. A lot has been made of the colour scheme and indeed materials being used for this project, and that's mainly because obviously we haven't had full confirmation of what area it will be. A few reflective materials will be used. It'll be browns at the front, and the park do go into go away green, a very, very Disney thing about painting things green that you don't want people to notice. Now, the sides of the buildings and indeed the backs of the buildings will be painted that colour. Mainly you won't see them, but you will see sort of the metal fascia at the top there where the roller coaster is. That won't be actually themed, but you won't notice it. It's very weird the way they do the green theming. They have done it as well to the side of the Jumanji building, which you may notice when you walk down Wild Woods. But it does give you kind of what it will look like, green, grey, metal, for the kind of sides, and then the other panels will be 2 and 3 dimensional ones. So really, really interesting in terms of how this will look, but of course you can't read too much into particularly the front of this building, because we know there will be a theme added to it. We just haven't had full confirmation of what it will be. Refresh and renew. There we have it, Chessington World of Adventures. We still don't have a full timeline, but this is a big project. As confirmed with the things they're demolishing, all the buildings that are currently there will be coming out, whether they're going to be stored elsewhere like the marquee, or whether they're going to be completely demolished like the shop. So this is effectively starting the land from scratch. I would imagine this is a good 18-month project, if more. And if we were looking, which is speculated for a 2026 opening, which we've heard, I don't know. I don't think it will be open till the summer. I still think 2027 is a more realistic time. However, they do have competition in Portons Park in 2026, which they're going to need to probably take on. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes. But what do you think? What do you think of the most recent plans for Chessington? Are you excited for Minecraft? I have to say, it is looking quite special.